Hey, Chris here from Videomaker, and in this video we're going to be talking about the top 3 reasons you should buy the RED Komodo camera, as well as the top 3 reasons you shouldn't. That and more coming up. The RED Komodo is the least expensive RED camera ever offered. At $6,000, it is, well, maybe a crash cam for some, but for others it's going to be a great entry into digital cinema. This is the top 3 reasons why you should buy this camera. The connectivity on this thing is pretty fantastic. I even have some notes here, so I'm going to address those from time to time. So the cool thing is you can control the camera completely with your phone with an app. And the cool thing is you can connect wirelessly with it. This isn't Bluetooth or anything else. This is a really reliable connection, and you can connect just directly to it. So it makes its own network. You connect to it. Your phone connects directly to it. That's awesome. You can do all the same things and control like focus. You can control your audio gain. You could do all the menu options, format media, all that stuff. Everything you could do with the camera in menu, you could do there with the app. It's real easy, really intuitive, and really effortlessly to use to find what you're looking for. It's really fantastic. And then the other thing is that it also allows you to do some other things, like live stream directly from the camera. Now you can do that with your phone using your phone's phone connectivity, but you could also do it in infrastructure mode. So it's connected to an infrastructure network already, and then the phone connects to it through that way. Then you can pull up an IP address and pull up the camera right there on any computer, really from anywhere. It's pretty crazy. So what other things can you do? So I said pull focus. You can monitor your audio. You can adjust the audio levels. You can have multiple people having the app open, using and controlling that part of the camera. You can live stream directly from it. You can start and stop recording. I mean, it's just amazing, the long list of things you can do. It's likely that RED really applied all that they learned from the Hydrogen 1 to make this so great. But it's absolutely the best experience connectivity-wise that I've ever had with any camera. The next reason you should buy this camera is for REDCODE RAW. It's the most affordable REDCODE RAW you can get, well, it's just fantastic to use. RED is so efficient with their codec. They give you 16-bit RAW files. All 3 of the compression offerings are approved by Netflix and categorized what kind of content you should make with them. It's pretty amazing. And if you've never used REDCODE RAW, you can adjust the white balance without degrading the image. There's just so much you can do with it. If you haven't ever experienced anything with REDCODE RAW, go over to RED. RED's got like stuff you can download on their site and really take advantage of it, because it's what you think RAW should be every time everybody else is ever selling it to you, and it's pretty fantastic. The last reason why we think this camera is really worth buying is it has a lot of frame rate and resolution offerings. And the cool thing about it is that it does change throughout the resolutions, which is typical. And let me look at my notes here. We got up to 40 frames per second in 6K, or the smaller 6K at 50 frames per second, 48 at 5K, 60 frames at 4K, and 120 in 2K. And the cool thing is every time you go to those different resolutions, it's just a smaller window of that sensor. So if you are producing in a lower resolution, you can get that punched in shot, in the can actually captured that way. And it keeps up, and it's really quite nice. And just the amount of frame rates, you don't need a lot of really high frame rates. 120 frames is not likely to be used very often. 60 frames is just right on the money when it comes to cinematic slow-mo, and you start getting into more specialty uses after that. 120, 240 still can be used in cinema, but everything else is like a special effect. So it's just got a really rich offering when it comes to that. All right, so it's not all roses for this camera. It's not perfect. Not any camera is. Likely there's going to be things about this camera that you don't like because of how you're using it. But overall, this is the 3 things that we think are really worst about this camera, and really the things that should probably keep you from buying it if you're considering it. The very first thing that is a bummer about this camera is that really $6,000 gets you the brain. Now you have a lens mount and you do have a battery, so you could put a lens on it and a battery and be ready to go, but it wouldn't really be very ergonomic for really any kind of shooting. It would be really cumbersome and weird because you're holding this square box. It'd just be strange. You could do it, but it'd be strange. You'd need media as well. So likely you're going to want to rig it out. So that's just added money. You're going to have to think about that. Now, has there ever been a RED camera that you didn't have to rig out? Well, there's some that you can rent, but not really. So, otherwise you got to build it for your application. Now, for our reviewing purposes, we use the wooden camera accessory kit. It was like $1,400. It's a handle, gives you some rails. It does a V mount because that's the kind of battery we had. So the batteries that it has, they're fine. We just didn't have them. We have V mount, so we use that. It made it easier and nicer to balance the camera because you could use the bigger battery to make it so that the center of gravity is more where you wanted. And then the handle was really nice because it was made for the camera, so it wasn't blocking the screen on the top. Now, that's nice, but that's another $1,400. And then as well, likely you're going to want a monitor of some sort, and the range for that is going to be quite large as well, depending on the quality. And, this isn't a camera making a low quality image, so likely you're going to want to spend more. So it's definitely something to really pay attention to and really will add up quickly. I would expect 25 to 30% more for the camera just to be able to buy the media, all the fairing and gear, how you want to out-rig it, and the battery, the media, and the rigging. That's just how it goes. And then, of course, if you want to shoot any kind of other lens on it other than RF, you can get the EF adapter, or there's other adapters that are out there as well. The Canon one actually is kind of cool because it has a built-in ND filter, which is another weakness, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So the next reason why you might not want to buy this camera is it only has an 1/8 inch audio input. That's just a problem with some workflows, and you'll have to buy some more things to be able to use, say, a microphone with an XLR out or anything like that. So it's definitely something to be concerned with, and it just makes the workflow that more cumbersome if you aren't able to get that extra bit of equipment. Okay, and the last reason you might not want to buy this camera is because you feel duped or something by the manufacturer claiming 16 plus stops of dynamic range, and we didn't see that. We saw 13 plus. Really, if there is any there, it's going to be very little information left in the shadows there. So really unfortunate there, because it actually is pretty nice. It's not like it lacks in dynamic range. I mean, you'd surely like as much as you can get, but 13 stops is not anything to scoff about. But does it have 16? No, it doesn't. So there you have it. Those are our 3 reasons to and not to buy this camera. Overall, though, the camera is pretty nice. The image looks really great. Like we said, you get 16-bit RAW in, REDCODE RAW even. So pretty fantastic there. We were really happy with it. We were able to get some one-click grades with just adding a LUT, and pretty fantastic. We were really impressed with the image quality. And once we had it all rigged out with all the things that we needed for our workflow, it worked really well. It was super handy. The small size is really nice. We got to use the black one. Maybe the white one or the red one would have been cool. I don't know. That's just such an aesthetic thing, but it looks pretty rad, right? So, if I was in the market and was spending around this kind of money, I'd be hard pressed to think I want to get something else unless I had other needs. And this is definitely your narrative filmmaker. This is someone that can take their time and set up their shot and use it in a more controlled situation, because it's really not going to be that run and gun camera. There's definitely other cameras that are more situated for that are ready right out of the box. But as a cinema camera, this is giving Blackmagic a run for their money in offering a RED at a Blackmagic budget. Pretty crazy, and really some great piece of technology. Super happy with it. But what did you think? Did I miss anything? Is there some things that like are blaring errors with this camera that I didn't mention? Put it in the comments below. As always, like, share, comment, all the rest. We're happy you're here. Turn on the bell notification. What else can I say? I've been Chris from Videomaker. I'll see you later.